Okay, these are one of my favorite tasks, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love it doing these. I love looking at the data. I love looking at what it's showing us and yeah, all that good stuff. Because my problem is, like I said on Monday, my biggest problem, not biggest problem, one of my biggest problems is that I ride the highs and lows of the individual daily results, and I shouldn't do that. And having an exercise like this, just taking a step back and looking and comparing, contrasting 2023 to 2024, where was we at this point last year? It's wonderful just to think, okay, even if you lose occupancy, look, the revenue can still grow. And it was such an eye-opening, wonderful task that I really enjoyed doing. And yeah, it was exciting for me to look into it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to compare Beverley, February 2023, and Willoughby 2023. We cannot compare Mansfield because we wasn't open. We cannot compare Clough Road because we'd only been open a year and 2 or 3 months this time. No, a year. We'd only been open a year. And so you can't compare when you've been open a year to when you've been open 24 months because there's going to be a massive difference, isn't there? So we couldn't do that. And we couldn't compare Wrexham because we've only just bought it. So we're comparing what they was doing before and what we're doing now, which is a massive difference, by the way. There's an over 50% increase in revenue from what they was doing and what we've done. Nuts. And don't get me wrong, it's not just about increasing the street rate, demand pricing, and all that good stuff. It's about increasing your square foot that you can actually provide to the local community as well. So we've increased containers, etc. So there's been capital expense, but it's come at increasing the revenue by like 50%. So that's really good. Over the moon there. So yes, really happy with all that, but we can't. And by the way, I've compared Wrexham loads of times. I've done loads of comparisons in the daily newsletter. Sign up, mrselfstorage.com, where all the cool kids hang out. And I've also done it on here on the podcast and on LinkedIn as well. So big comparison there. Right, so let's compare Beverley. Let's start at Beverley. So Beverley, I looked today and the occupancy in the close this week's close of play was 85% at Beverley in 2023. Beverley close of play yesterday was 84%. So it was close of play last week yesterday. You get what I mean? Same time anyway. It's the same time. So the occupancy, one was 85%. That was 2023, and one was 24. One was 84%. So in a year, we've lost 1% occupancy. Now at Beverley, we haven't got a lot of selectable square foot, so 1% is next to nothing. However, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Losing occupancy, that's never a good thing. But we have seen declining occupancy across the board. Right. So the true period revenue, that's the invoiced amount for argument's sake. In 2023, at this point, for February, was 10,587 in 2023. In 2024, the same time period, exactly to the date, I did it on the 10th of the month, the same time period. And by the way, head on over to mrselfstorage.com. This is coming out on Thursday. You can actually see the reports and everything, and we go through it. So log on before Thursday, and you'll be sent this around about 6:45 a.m. So true period revenue was 10,587 in 2023. The same time period, it was 13,956. That's an increase of £3,369, an increase of 32% in revenue. We lost 1% in occupancy, but we gained 32% in revenue. I thought, well, that's amazing. I wouldn't expect anywhere near that year on year. You can't sustain that. But there will be an increase all the time. There should be an increase all the time unless you lose a shit ton of square foot, and you don't want to be doing that. That's over £40,000 increase in revenue. And what happens with that revenue increase? It drops straight to the bottom line. There's no associated costs with any of that. There's no extra units being bought. There's no extra capital expenses. There's no extra deliverables. There's no extra staffing for that. It's straight to the bottom line. 40 grand a year extra. Right, Willoughby, the big site. So this is where I've been getting concerned. And by the way, it's my job to be concerned. I have to be concerned because if I'm not concerned, then who is? We've got to be all over our numbers. Willoughby, February 2023. It was a bad time. We lost a lot of square foot, and our occupancy was 73%. Oh, no, 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 no. It's got worse, my friends. In Willoughby, February 2024, exactly the same date, we're at 70% occupancy. And so we've lost 3%. Now, 3% is around about just over 10,000 square foot. So that is a lot of square foot to lose in a year. I think it is anywhere. And 3 points is crazy amount. However, so obviously I see the occupancy. I'm like, oh my God, the occupancy is going down. Shit, what are we going to do? Ah! So we lost 3% in the year. How does that translate to revenue? Oh, I've got that data for you. Don't you worry. I'm going to show you all that. Right, the true period revenue by exactly the same time of year, it was 57,722, middle of February, 10th of February it was. That's how much we've invoiced so far that month. And so that was 2023. Taking consideration we've lost 7%, what would you, lost 3%, what would you expect the revenue to be? And when I was saying to the wife, I was saying, what do you expect? And she goes, well, I think you've grown. I was like, oh, yeah, we have, but I expected you to say we've lost. And I was going to say, aha, no, darling, no. Anyway, so 2023 was 57,722. 2024 February, same time, is 61,952. So we've actually gained £4,230 increase. That's an increase of 7% in revenue. That is wonderful. And I put here, I think that's an increase we can expect year on year, even if we lose 1 to 2 to 3 points in occupancy. Hopefully this year we won't lose in occupancy, but if we do, you would still like to see an increase in revenue. And don't get me wrong, by the way, with inflation, the things are costing more, the electric, etc. There's things that cost more, isn't there? So you'd expect and you would want to see an increase because with inflation, if you're not increasing by inflation or more, then you are actually decreasing. You're actually worse off. And so I put here, that's an increase of over £50,000 a year in revenue. Even though we've lost occupancy, even though we've lost over 10,000 square foot, we've increased revenue by 50k that year. And there's going to be more, by the way, because there is. Mind you, there is one thing we should take into consideration here. But last year had 28 days. This had 29 days February this year because it's a leap year. So we do have to take into consideration 1 day extra. But it only invoices 14 days in advance. So I do think that has a small impact. So something to bear in mind. And I didn't actually realize that until now. It's only 1 day, but 1 day still matters. But I would still expect to see, 7% increase. Well, over 7% this year because we expect an increase in revenue. I expect us to be, I'm going to put it out there, I expect our occupancy to increase 5 to 8 points by this time next year. But it's not massive amounts because you'll increase a lot during the summer and then slowly November, December, January, you'll decrease in occupancy. So I expect us to increase in between 5 and 8 points. I think that's doable. Right. But I bloody love looking at this data. It just highlights the importance of the simple things. Increasing street rates in line or above inflation. So often the go-to thing is to decrease prices, and we shouldn't be doing that unless we have to, unless we're in real dire trouble. Because if you decrease them, then AB self-storage down the road will decrease their price, and you decrease your prices, and it's a commodity-based business, and it's a race to the bottom. You do not want to be in a commodity-based business. You need to differentiate yourself from the crowd. How can you be different? We stand out because we are the premier self-storage facility around. The Montclair, if you like, because we've got no key technology, we've got motion sensors, etc., free 24-hour access, free van hire. I don't know. You've got to differentiate yourself. You've got to show other people that you are better than the alternative. And there's nothing wrong, by the way, with AB self-storage down the road because you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are. Are you the luxury brand or are you the Aldi? And I love Aldi, but Aldi knows who they are. Waitrose knows who they are. They are competing for the same customer. So who are you and who is your customer? Do you know who you are? I want to be the luxury brand. I don't want to be the go-to Aldi because then the cheaper you are in self-storage, the more of a commodity you are. And so we need to differentiate ourselves. That's why it's so hard with container storages because how do you set yourself apart? The units, maybe. The colour of them, maybe. The insulation, maybe. The purpose-built units, maybe. Electric roller shutters, maybe. How can you differentiate yourself? Is it the security? Is it the area? Is it a nicer area? Is the ground a bit better than your competition? What makes you stand out to stop you being a commodity? Because we do not at all extend. That's not right. We don't, at all costs, got it. At all costs, we do not want to be a commodity. Right, so increasing street rates in line with the bubble of inflation. Demand pricing. Are you doing demand pricing? When you've got more demand for a certain size unit, you've only got 2, 3 left or 1 left, you increase the price of that unit. Simple things, but we have to do it. It's like airplanes. When there's less seats, the price goes up. When there's more seats, the price goes down. And we need to do more of that. We need to be actively doing that. Revenue management. Revenue management. Revenue management is absolutely key. Because don't forget, I never did I never did a price increase at Beverley for 5 years. 5 years, people were still paying £11 a week when people were coming in on street rate and paying £33 a week. Stupid, but you don't know what you don't know. So you need to, otherwise you're losing money. If you do not increase people's prices, then the inflation is going to mean that you're actually losing, you're actually getting worse off year after year after year after year after year, which is absolutely ridiculous. You need to be increasing that person's price at least yearly to the inflation rates. If you're not, then you are losing. You are actually losing and you're worse off. But so many people, I know people where as a badge of honour saying we don't increase people's prices. That's not a badge of honour. I can't. The place we bought in Wrexham didn't increase the price in 15 years. I think they increased £1 or something because of I don't know what it was, but it increased £1 in 15 years. And we had to, because somebody was paying like £4 a week when they should have been paying like 40 quid a week. And it was like, oh my God, what do we do here? Do we rip a band-aid off or do we give them a half? I thought, you know what, they're not going to be happy with a half of the increase, like a 500% increase. I might increase it 1,000 or whatever it is. And so we just increased it fully and they never, ever, ever complained. I presume that they realised it's only in line with inflation, but they was getting such a grid. £4 a week, what is the point? It might have been great 15, 20 years ago, but it's not worth it now. We're losing money. I can't get this across enough. And please don't think there's anything wrong with revenue management. Yes, you can be too greedy, of course you can, but you have to do some sort of revenue management. If you don't, you're worse off every single year. Anyway, head on over to MrSelfStorage.com, have a look at the true period reports, sign up there, free daily newsletter and all that good stuff. I'm going to have to get going now because I'm going on holiday soon. It's Monday morning and we need to go. All right, I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you on tomorrow. We've got another episode tomorrow.